And this is the Hyde Park Metro. Do we have a still back there? Well, we'll get that up on the screen as soon as... Oh, of course we do. The Hyde Park Metro. It comes out. It's a bi-weekly publication. Right. It comes out. And one of the featured sections that are in this publication, there it is right there. Isn't that beautiful? How about that? If we build it, they will come.
Right. The Sheraton, actually, is what this is about. But we like to go into we like to take areas such as 7th Avenue, like what you're doing, and maybe take a little bit of a different look or a different view of, you know, what the status quo would say, but we try to go a little bit underneath and bring out something else, that's all, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, good.
And one of the featured segments in here is the JJ Talk segment, when you find a celebrity that's in the news or somebody from the area that's making news about the making news, and you sit down and you get a chance to grill them. You get closer to them than any other people in any kind of media can get close to them. And the special part of it is you get them to open up a little more in the interview.
I have been really lucky, and I think that the idea is so many people are so hard to talk to because they're afraid of the fact that if they tell the truth, it might really, people would hold it against them.
Gee, calling somebody on the carpet, now there's a new switch.
Right, but there are a lot of really interesting people in Tampa Bay, and the idea is that we like to pull them out and get them to talk. So maybe you hear the name, but you don't really know who they are, and we like to get them to talk about themselves a little bit. Right. So we've been doing a lot of that, and we've had wonderful people.
Give us an example of some of the people you had in the past.
Well, for example, we were in the Columbia, and we did a great interview with Adela Gonsmart.
Oh, what a treasure.
And of course, you know, her issue was all about the machismo that she grew up with that nobody really gets a chance to hear about. Then we had David Lefevre. I mean, he was really outrageous. And I mean, here's a man who literally grew up with people in his life like Khrushchev. I mean, you know, we're talking, breakfast with Khrushchev, okay? So these are the
banging the shoe on the table. Where are the eggs? Where are the eggs?
Actually, David is wonderful, and he's doing a great job in town, and we thank him for taking the time with us to do that kind of thing.
You had Socrates Babakis. Now, two ways to think about Socrates Babakis. Either one, this guy's full of hot gas, or two, he's on to something, and we should start listening to him.
Well, we're getting faxes every day from him, Ward, and even though the whole Bay Area is screaming about, you know, where is the stadium? How are we going to pay for it? Socrates is up in Washington.
I got the money. I got the money.
That's right.
There's people who listen to me. It's in my pocket. I don't got to show you my wallet, but I got the money.
Right. And the truth is that he still might come through, and that's the most outrageous part.
At the top of the show, JJ was out last night. We sent her out with a crew, and you got a chance to follow around, to pal around with one of the more flamboyant people in show business. I mean, and a name, you talk about a name, Doc Severinsen, the former Tonight Show band, Tonight Show orchestra leader.
So anyway, here I am. I'm at Ruth Eckerd Hall, and the camera's going to move out a little bit, and here he is, the master himself, Doc Severinsen. I love it.
Hello.
Great. Doc, I did want to just start out by one thing. First of all, any man that wears a pair of pink leather pants, I mean, what else
can't be all bad. I mean, you know.
But before we even get into the clothing, I wanted to talk about the fact that you're here with the big band.
I'm here with the band that did the Tonight Show for about 30 years.
That's so cool.
And got a lot of the same players in there, and we're going to play some of the big band favorites and some blues. We got some great blues.
The orchestra, and if you've heard anything about the Florida Orchestra, they've had a few little problems with the finances. And I was wondering if your input, you know, as far as traveling around the country as you do you see it as a big problem, or?
Well, it's a funny thing. It does seem to be a problem that exists in many places, but then every once in a while you find an orchestra that is having absolutely no problem whatsoever. So it's obvious that it's doable. It depends on the community and how much they want to have a symphony orchestra.
Here's as a young boy, 7 years old, and you were asked to actually play with the high school band when you were 7. You were always doing that kind of stuff.
Well, it was listen, I'll tell you this. It was a lousy high school band, so there was no great honor attached to that.
But
besides, the seniors at high school in the band were all too drunk to march, so they had to have guys like me that stayed sober long enough to march for the Memorial Day parade. That's the truth.
Oh,
that's the truth.
Is it? Oh,
yeah.
Boy. But in lieu of that, okay, now here you are, a young man, though, and you're playing in the high school band. I want to direct that to the idea of what we talked about earlier, the fact that they're cutting so many musical programs with the kids in school now, and I would think you've got something to say about that.
I do have, and let's relate this to the subject of symphony orchestras that are having a hard time financially. I say that that's an adult pursuit that has to shake itself out by virtue of whether people will support the orchestra. However, cutting back on our educational programs of any kind, whether it's sports, drama, and you know, some things with computers and music, these are all things that are creating better young people, and better young people will make a better America. And I just don't see how we could possibly cut back on the funding for education. If anything, we should increase it. I think any good school teacher should be entitled to make as much as a good doctor or a good lawyer. We send our children off to school. They're there from 7 in the morning, sometimes till 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and their lives are really being determined by other people than ourselves. And I want somebody that's well paid to take care of my kids and my grandkids. Believe me.
Well, hopefully you're right. Hopefully, though, he wouldn't be the one designing the wardrobe for the school system. I get to pick out, I mean, I don't know if you guys can, if you want to move back a little bit and check this out. But let's see, I've got Gold LeMay, and then I've got something pretty wild that is orange polka dot. I've got a, oh, this is gorgeous. Can I have that?
You like that?
Oh, I love it. Now, who made this for you?
Whatever you say.
Oh, great. You know which ones I'm going to want.
Well, maybe we'll get those in there tonight.
Oh, I love it.
But,
oh, that's great. Miss Patricia Hoyt, Ms. Patricia Hoyt. She's been our film commissioner for 12 years in the Bay Area, and that in itself is a major feat. I think you guys have that. Do we have that interview? Do you have the new paper, anybody out there in the studio? There we go. Hey, there it is. And actually, you kind of have covered the whole area for 12 years.
Yes.
Right. But let's start with where you started out, because I know the audience would like to know a little bit about how the film office even started.
I started out as the receptionist in the mayor's office with Bob Martinez. I went in when he was elected mayor. And then it evolved into being the special events person for the city. And that included the film office. Then the film office got so large that Mayor Friedman decided we should split them, and I took the film office.
So you've been working, I mean, you've worked all the films like Cocoon. You did Cocoon, right?
The part that was done in Tampa,
Right. And I also knew you at a time when you were working with Cop and a Half, and you've done all of that. I mean, you have really seen the film office grow.
Yes, certainly have.
Yeah. Tampa's on the west coast of Florida, above Sarasota, and about an hour and a half outside of Orlando, the home of the 1994 World Cup, and of course, that furry friend of ours with the ears, Mickey Mouse. The Tampa Bay area is also home to 20,000 expats from your blustery shores, including the famous racing driver Nigel Mansell. Today, though, I'd like to explore the city and take you to another home away from home, Wilton Morley's Mad Dogs and Englishmen. This little hideaway was voted the best pub in Tampa Bay, and like anywhere, the publican has a lot to do with it. Let's go inside. Wilton?
Ah, JJ! I'm not ready for my close-up quite yet, darling. Just tidying up a little bit for the tube, but do come in, do come in.
So, Wilton Morley.
JJ,
Yes,
welcome to my humble establishment.
Thank you. Why Tampa?
Oh, darling, that's easy. It's the most lovely place to live. 57 television stations, hot weather, cheap, cheerful, and they love the British, you see.
And so, Wilton, I do have to ask you this question. I know everyone does. But what was it like growing up with a famous actor as a father, Robert Morley?
Well, he was great fun. He loved to travel. I think that's probably where we got the bug from, because my sister lives in Australia now. And I'm just sorry that he didn't live to see my little bar.
This is Bonnie Moore from the Mayor's Beautification Program. She is the executive director. Before I start, though, we started with Earth Day. We were doing the commentary on Earth Day because we had have this exotic pet shop, and what they're doing is they're giving 10% of all the proceeds to the Mayor's Beautification Program.
Tourist thing, but it's also to get kids involved and adults involved, and it's
making the kids of the area,
right,
the businesses of the area, and the city,
yes,
and putting it all together.
We're the liaison.
Yeah, and you're planting.
And we're planting.
Jody Jackson Williams joined us from the Hyde Park Metro Post. As always, you have another special guest and a handsome shirt there,
Bruce
too.
Hunt.
Hi, Bruce.
Ward Smith.
How are you, Ward?
Right. But I wanted to talk about the new paper.
Yes, it's hot off the press. Paul brought it over. Your husband brought it over, and he said it was really.
It's still wet.
It's still kind of tacky. Yes. Yeah. This is. Ooh, it's a fresh. Almost like the Ditto fluid in school. Remember that?
Yeah.
But listen, in the we've got a section here called Anthill. Let me find
it. Is that your gossip section, right?
It's the gossip section, and actually I brought Bruce on because he is a contributor to the paper, a writer for us, but he also just came out with his brand new book called Adventure Sports in Florida. That's what we're going to be talking about.
Terrific.
Right, he's a wild man.
Well, before you go, let me. I'll get a copy of the book, and I need to get some tickets, and a good insurance policy because I can't bungee jump. I'm gonna go read your thing on Jerry Lewis. I'm gonna go read it. It looks great so far. I'm gonna finish it up. You guys chat. I'll talk to you soon. Nice to meet you, Ord.
So let's start again. Bruce Hunt. Bruce has been writing for the Metro on and off for the past year, but the exciting thing is his new book, Adventure Sports in Florida, just came out hot off the press too, actually.
Yeah, just been out for about 3 weeks.
Right. Pineapple Press.
Pineapple Press is my publisher. They're out of Sarasota.
Right. But the interesting thing about Bruce, I think, is that you're a Tampa native, correct?
Born and raised, yeah.
Right. And have you always been like? Before we start and go into some footage of what he actually does. As a little boy, you started doing this.
So what you're saying is, have I always been an adrenaline junkie?
Yeah,
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't a stick and ball sports kind of guy. I was kind of anything that goes fast. Pedal my bicycle as fast as it can go, and that led to skydiving, sports car racing, some things like that I've been doing for quite a while.
You're a real worry to your mother. I mean, she must have totally.
I was, but she quit worrying now.
Right. We have some footage. I don't know if you guys can run that. Let's just show you what Bruce actually does. Guys, here we go.
Now, this one I've got the camcorder on the helmet, and so you'll see the bungee jump. This is a pre-state regulation bungee jump. And after this, you'll see it from my perspective. Here we go. This is from the helmet cam perspective.
Huh?
Yeah.